These strange videos are baffling everyone online, and people are trying to find answers. Whether it's paranormal activities caught on camera or mysterious captures with no explanation. Today's compilation makes it hard to deny that our world is indeed a very strange place. In a hospital late at night, a doctor was wheeling a stretcher toward the morgue. Another staff member stepped in to help guide it through the doorway. Everything seemed routine until the unthinkable happened. The body lying on the stretcher got up and now was in a seated position. Both men froze for a split second before bolting in opposite directions, their panic captured by the security camera. When the clip surfaced online, people argued over what they had just seen. The most believable one was that it was a human reflex. However, the way it was sitting, many are convinced it was something supernatural. Terrifying ghost encounter. So these two paranormal urban explorers had decided to go into a haunted house at 12 p.m. and ended up being trapped inside with a terrifying entity. This house was in the outskirts of Manado, Indonesia, and upon entering this room, they heard strange, daunting sounds when an unknown, ghostly entity charged towards the cameraman. This scared both of them, and to make matters worse, their flashlights started malfunctioning. It was already too much for them, so as soon as they decided to leave, the entity came at them again. The ghostly figure was never seen again, and even if we slow down the frames, the features aren't that visible other than the fact it was clearly a human ghost. The explorers got out of there physically fine, but emotionally drained. Moving casket. One viral video has people questioning if the unalive are really just myths. A coffin lies on the ground, but then it starts to move. First a slight shake, then harder, like something trapped inside is fighting to break out. The person filming doesn't dare get closer. They don't even try to open it. Maybe that was the safest choice. Who would want to see what was inside? Skeptics say it's staged. Paranormal believers argue it's proof of a trapped soul desperate to escape. Either way, the footage leaves an unsettling thought. Whatever was inside didn't belong there.
Jesús, Jesús en la vida. Jesús, Jesús en la muerte. Dulce Jesús, sálvame Jesús.
Chilling video. A chilling video began making rounds online. The footage is of a coffin, and the camera records the moment as the woman's eyes are wide open. There isn't much information surrounding this incident, other than the fact it happened somewhere in South America 1 year ago. Spirit of the well. One woman in Indonesia managed to capture a chilling experience late at night. She kept hearing faint cries for help coming from an old abandoned well behind her house that hadn't been used in years. With her phone recording, she carefully leaned over to look inside, and that's when something shocking appeared on camera. At the bottom of the well stood what looked like a man, but his appearance was anything but normal. His body was completely dark, almost like a shadow given form, with a disturbing face and glowing white eyes fixed directly on the lens. The realization struck instantly. This wasn't human. The woman screamed in terror and bolted away from the well, leaving behind a mystery that still has viewers rattled. Was it a restless spirit trapped below, or something far worse lurking in the darkness?
Hola?
Creepy mannequin. At McAllen Horror Nights, the #1 haunted house in South Texas, people expect jump scares and creepy props. But what a CCTV camera caught one night went far beyond staged frights. An employee on closing shift was making her way through the venue when she passed a mannequin. Suddenly, its head shifted toward her, slow and deliberate. She froze, staring in disbelief. Then, without warning, the mannequin's head twisted all the way to the side. Terrified, she bolted out of the room. The strange part? That mannequin had no moving mechanisms, and no one else was in the building at the time. Whether it was a glitch of some kind or something paranormal, the footage is enough to make even seasoned haunt workers uneasy. Coffin wave. Funerals are supposed to be final, but in Indonesia, one burial started something paranormal. As mourners stood around the coffin, the camera caught something no one was ready for, a faint wave from inside. The white cloth covering the man moved, and for a split second, it looked like another hand moved too. People froze, unsure if they'd really seen it or if their minds were playing tricks. The clip ends there. No answers, no follow-up. Just that single, eerie moment that makes you wonder, did he actually return for a second? Or was something else at work? Either way, it's not the kind of thing you forget. Creepy horned figure. In Colorado, a late-night visit to a cemetery turned into something unforgettable. Near a headstone, a strange figure sat motionless. Its lower half looked see-through, its ears pointed, and two curved horns jutted from its head. The face stayed hidden in shadow. When a car passed, the being raised its arms in slow, ritual-like motions before fading out of sight. Locals whispered about guardians of cemeteries, creatures said to feed on the energy of the dead. After this clip spread online, many admitted they'd never walk through that graveyard after dark again. Strange sky orbs.
Oh, que porra é essa?
This dashcam footage was recorded on a highway someplace in Brazil that captured one of the most mysterious orbs ever. While cruising down the dark road, 4 glowing spheres suddenly appeared above, moving in complete silence. What made the sight even stranger was how the orbs held perfect formation, gliding smoothly right over the car before vanishing into the night sky. The clip sparked heavy debate online. Were these just drones or some kind of advanced military test? Or did Brazil just witness a rare glimpse of something not from this world? Shadow Watcher. A family spent the day exploring an abandoned site, filming as they laughed and walked through the ruins. At first, nothing seemed unusual until the footage was reviewed later. In the background, a tall, shadow-like figure glided silently across the frame. No one had noticed it at the time. The area was already rumored to be haunted, and investigators later called the figure a residual spirit, like an echo replaying the past. Others simply call them watchers, silent beings said to linger in forgotten places. Dare gone wrong. A group of friends decided to pull a prank at a cemetery. One of them lay inside an unused grave while the others filmed. It was all laughs at first, until the boy's shirt jerked upward, yanked by something no one could see. He bolted out of the grave in terror while the camera kept rolling. What seemed like a harmless dare instantly turned serious. Viewers later warned the group that some burial sites are believed to be claimed by unseen forces. Whether prank or punishment, the message was clear. Some places aren't meant to be disturbed. Funeral home footage. Funeral homes are meant to be quiet, still places, but one in Arizona captured something no one could explain. Security cameras showed neat rows of coffins, unmoving, except for one. Out of nowhere, it began sliding across the floor, slowly at first, then steady, like it was being pushed by something invisible. The hall was empty. When staff reviewed the tape, they admitted it didn't look like a glitch at all. Some said a restless spirit wasn't ready to settle. Whatever it was, that coffin refused to stay put. Demonic encounter. Allegedly, this footage showed a demonic shape-shifting entity, more commonly known as Skinwalker, but the location doesn't match the cryptid. Recorded someplace other than the United States, this homeowner was woken up at 3:45 a.m. by the sounds of multiple stray dogs right outside her home, and there was an unfamiliar noise as well. She saw something that caused her to run away in fear and got her husband to go check. He went around the other area, and he also saw something that terrified him. Now, according to them, they saw a demon that was shape-shifting. It looked humanoid, but wasn't. Which is why people commented it was most likely a skinwalker. But can that be possible outside of America? Let me know in the comments. Seton House Ghost. In Denver, Colorado, an abandoned building with a long history became the setting for one eerie video. Once a school in the 1970s, later a residence for sisters, and eventually a homeless shelter, the property known as Seton House has been left in ruins for decades. One evening, a man and his girlfriend decided to explore it. Their camera followed them through the decayed halls until they reached a small open space. That's when something chilling appeared. A woman in a long black dress stood silently in the distance. She had a pale gray look, her presence cold and unnatural, and strangely, she cast no shadow. Just as quickly as she appeared, she was gone. The couple insisted they hadn't seen anything in real life, only later realizing the figure was captured on video. With the building's layered past, many believe the spirit of Seton House still lingers there. Floating bale. Captured in Barcelona, Spain, villagers looked up in disbelief at a bale of straw suspended in the sky. It wasn't drifting or being carried by wind. It was just hanging there, unmoving, as if something invisible was holding it up. Locals quickly connected the site to an abandoned house nearby, long rumored to be tied to witchcraft. Whispers spread that a witch's power might be keeping the bale aloft. Whether superstition or something unexplainable, the floating straw became the talk of the town. Ghostly customer. Here's some truly strange footage. A saleswoman in a perfume store is seen enthusiastically selling to what looks like a customer. She gestures, explains, and even points out products. But the problem is, there's no one standing there. Her coworker watches in disbelief, because to him and the security camera, she's talking to thin air. What makes it even more unsettling is her reaction. The second her coworker speaks up, she freezes, looking utterly confused, almost like someone waking up from a trance. Paranormal theories quickly popped up online. Some suggest it could be a glamour, an old belief where a spirit or entity casts an illusion, making a person see something that isn't really there. To her, the customer may have looked completely real, even though the space was empty. Later, a follow-up video was made where the saleswoman herself explained the incident. She admitted that, in the moment, she was completely convinced she was speaking to an actual person, and only when she saw the footage did she realize how terrifyingly strange it was. This only made the footage more mysterious, but more believable. Mysterious hospital clip. Just before the end of their late-night shift, 2 hospital cleaners in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, had an encounter that left them shaken. The strange event was caught on CCTV inside the hospital and later shared by the TikTok account Tana Kabor on March 23rd. As one of them reaches for the light switch, she suddenly stops and recoils in terror. According to her, she came face to face with a man hanging from the ceiling, his skin pale and his face horribly disfigured. The moment throws her into a panic, stumbling backward in shock. Meanwhile, her colleague wastes no time sprinting down the hall, leaving her behind. But then the footage takes an even stranger turn. The room light flicks on by itself, and the door swings open wide with no one touching it. The uploader also claimed that the rest of the footage mysteriously went missing. Both this camera and another one further down the corridor were reportedly found broken and had to be replaced. Mysterious forest spirit. A man went into the woods at night, hoping to record the strange noises he'd been hearing. What his camera caught instead is nightmare fuel. Between the trees stood a tall figure, long black hair hanging down, glowing red eyes staring straight into the lens. It didn't move. It didn't need to. Just standing there was enough. The video blew up online, with people arguing if it was a spirit or a hoax. But here's the creepy part. Every upload of that clip kept disappearing. If it was fake, why wipe it from the internet? That's what keeps people up at night. Moving soil. A cemetery camera caught something that sent chills through viewers. It shows a freshly buried grave, still covered in soft soil. At first, nothing moves. Then the dirt begins to rise, like something underneath is pressing to get out. The person filming doesn't say a word, too stunned to react. Later, they admitted they believed something alive was trapped below. Online, the clip sparked chaos. Was it paranormal or something far worse? The footage cuts with no resolution, just a grave that seemed far from at rest. Cursed graveyard encounter.
Hello? Ma'am.
Curiosity led one man to explore a graveyard rumored to be cursed. As he wandered through the stones, he noticed a figure sitting alone on a bench. The stranger mumbled in a language he couldn't recognize, then turned to stare at him in silence. Unsettled, the man backed away and left. Locals later claimed he had interrupted a ritual tied to old grave magic. Others admitted they'd also seen strange figures lurking there. Was it just a person playing a role, or something ancient that never left?
Hello? Do you need help? Yeah. Not doing that.
Cemetery creature. Late one night in Pakistan, a group of friends tried to prove they weren't afraid of wandering through a cemetery. At first, the footage showed nothing unusual, just faint noises echoing in the background. But when they later reviewed the recording, something chilling appeared. Behind a grave, a pale, hairless figure with glowing eyes was watching them. Paranormal enthusiasts linked it to stories of the rake, or even skinwalkers, creatures said to stalk the night and thrive on fear. Whether myth or real, those glowing eyes staring from the darkness were enough to unsettle even the bravest viewer. Strange home activities. A series of strange home videos began circulating online, leaving viewers uneasy. It started small, scratching noises just outside the house. As the homeowner filmed, his crucifix, once upright, suddenly flipped upside down. Later that night, more sounds echoed from the basement. When he went to check, he caught something even stranger, a horse figurine sliding across the floor on its own. Wanting undeniable proof,
No, I don't think so. No.
he set up a static camera overnight in the living room. One by one, objects moved again with no one near them. But the most unsettling moment happened in an empty bedroom. He flipped the lights on, and the room was clear. Yet something about the air felt wrong. Some viewers called it textbook paranormal activity. Others feared something darker had taken hold of the house. Nepal cracking. In Nepal, something unfolded that looked straight out of a disaster film. A section of road suddenly split down the middle, tearing apart the ground beneath it. But the real shock came moments later. Lava began pouring from the crack, glowing red as it flowed. Even experts on the scene had no answers for how or why it happened. Many compared it to the strange fissures seen in Africa, but this one looked far more terrifying, leaving locals shaken and authorities scrambling for solutions. Bizarre fence behavior.
That is so weird.
The following footage was captured somewhere in Colorado when a homeowner noticed something unusual happening in his backyard. The fence was trembling. At first, he assumed there had to be a simple reason. Maybe the wind or an animal brushing past. But the weather was calm, the yard was empty, and nothing nearby could explain it. Still, the fence shook on its own, rattling as though it were alive, shivering in the cold night air. Glowing space stone.
Gente do céu. Caraca.
Experts uncovered a glowing stone in Brazil that behaved in ways they couldn't explain. At times, it felt icy cold, like holding a block of ice, and then suddenly, it would heat up in an instant. The constant shift in temperature made the discovery feel less like rock and more like something out of science fiction. For the team, it was a treasure unlike anything they had ever handled before.
Não, tá gelado.
Tá gelado?
Tá gelado.
Ué?
Blue Meteor Mystery.
I don't know what to think. That meteor flew over today.
In Williamston, South Carolina, a man heard a crash in his yard and discovered something shocking. A glowing blue stone shaped like a diamond. Unlike anything he'd seen before, the rock looked otherworldly, as if it had fallen straight from the stars. The find has been called pure luck online, with many saying he must feel like he just hit the jackpot. Mexican Mountain Orb. In a quiet Mexican town, locals stared at the mountainside as a glowing orb zipped from one edge to the other in seconds. It wasn't a plane, drone, or anything they could identify. Its speed and shape felt completely unnatural. Some linked it to local legends about wandering spirit lights, while others whispered about UFOs scouting the hills. Whatever it was, everyone watching agreed. It didn't move like anything from this world. Sunny snowfall. On a clear, sunny afternoon, a man noticed something impossible. Snow was falling on just one tree. Around its base, the snow had already piled up, as though it had been snowing there for hours. The rest of the area stayed completely dry. The scene felt unreal, like a glitch in nature. People online are still arguing about it. Was it an unseen weather pattern, or something stranger at work? Moving tree mystery. The Anzac Park in Tea Gardens, New South Wales. Australia looked perfectly still until a tourist's camera caught something bizarre. A large tree seemed to shudder, then slowly shift from one spot to another, as if dragged by an invisible force. The tree wasn't uprooted, and no machinery was in sight. Some viewers online jumped straight to the idea of Bigfoot, saying only a creature that powerful could drag a tree like that without being seen. Strange weather mist.
As it gets later in the day, fog should lighten, dissipate, and it's really not. But the weirdest part is the taste and smell. It smells like after you set off a bunch of fireworks.
Recently, in several states of America, locals noticed a strange fog rolling in that didn't feel natural. It had a strong, chemical-like smell, and some people even said it made them feel sick after just a few minutes outside. What stood out most was its appearance. The fog looked heavier than normal, almost as if it carried particles within it. Weather experts brushed it off as a mix of pollution and regular mist, but the timing and way it spread left many uneasy. To those who experienced it firsthand, this wasn't ordinary weather.
It's super weird, and so I'm going for my walk, and it's kind of worrying me a little bit. Let me know if you guys are experiencing something like that. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, it smells not right. And I'm 41. I've been through fog. This is something different.
Mysterious trumpet sound.
That was weird.
A man standing outside to admire a rainbow got more than he expected when a deep, trumpet-like sound shook the air around him. The noise wasn't quick. It rolled on for several moments, echoing in a way that felt almost unearthly. The calm sky contrasted with the powerful sound, making the moment even stranger. To him, it felt like a message from above, something not meant to be ignored. Blue sky glow. A TikTok clip recently stunned viewers, showing a strange blue light glowing high in the sky. But it wasn't just the glow. Inside the light, there seemed to be objects moving, almost like they were powering it from within. No one could figure out what they were. The eerie scene felt otherworldly, and online, people began speculating if it was proof that something or someone might be quietly watching us from above. Mysterious SKY phenomenon. Back in 2020, a small town in China witnessed something surreal. Locals looked up and saw what appeared to be a massive bridge floating across the clouds. It stretched unnaturally long, like it belonged to another world. The sight carried an eerie, almost apocalyptic vibe, leaving people shaken. No explanation ever fully made sense, and to those who saw it, the sky that day looked like it was holding a secret far beyond our understanding. Forest apparition. A man in Indonesia captured a mysterious sighting on video that quickly went viral and left many viewers unsettled. The short recording shows him exploring a quiet, isolated forest when something unexpected appeared in front of him. On camera, a pale figure with long dark hair could be seen standing just a short distance away. At first, the figure looked small, almost childlike, but as the seconds passed, it seemed to grow larger and more imposing. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the figure vanished without a trace. The eerie footage sparked debate online. While some people were convinced it showed a real supernatural encounter, others believed it was nothing more than a staged video meant for entertainment. Still, the way the figure grew in size and disappeared left many unsettled. What exactly did this man see in the forest that night? Unknown creature video. A short but very strange video recently appeared on TikTok, filmed in Port Dickson, Malaysia. A mysterious figure suddenly jumps out of the water. In the clip, you can see the figure diving down and then reappearing on the surface, repeating the motion several times. Viewers quickly split into two groups. Skeptics say it's just trash or a log floating in the waves, but others insist the shape looks too much like a human figure, almost like some kind of fish man. So what was really captured here? An illusion? A trick of light and water? Or something alive hiding beneath the waves? That question still has no answer. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. During a funeral gathering, family and friends stood around an open casket, preparing to say their final goodbyes. But what happened next left everyone shaken. As one woman leaned forward to touch the deceased, the body suddenly sat up. Gasps filled the room as people stumbled back in fear, unsure if what they were seeing was real. The figure sat upright only for a few seconds before laying back into the coffin and being completely still. Those present swore it was no trick of the eye. To them, it was a chilling sign that the spirit wasn't ready to rest.